Browns Today updates, OTA script. Nobody wanted to give Shedeur Sanders a fair shot. Not the analysts, not the draft pundits, not the national media that spent 3 straight weeks turning his draft slide into a punchline. They took every shot they could at this kid, questioned his confidence, questioned his ceiling, questioned whether falling to the 5th round was going to quietly break him before he ever got a real chance to prove himself. And then OTAs happened, and Shedeur Sanders walked into that building in Berea and made every single one of those people look foolish. This is not a feel-good story. This is not hype. This is what actually went down at Browns OTAs. And by the time we are done today, you are going to understand exactly why this quarterback competition is far more real, far more serious, and far more dangerous for Deshaun Watson than anybody in the mainstream is willing to admit right now. Let's start with what actually matters, and it is not highlight throws, it is not arm strength, it is not the kind of surface-level stuff that casual fans fixate on. What jumped off the tape at OTAs was Shedeur Sanders' processing speed. First read, second read, third read, ball out, clean, fast, decisive. That rhythm, that music, is what separates quarterbacks who survive in this league from the ones who get eaten alive by it. Because defensive coordinators at this level are not waiting for you to figure it out. They are hunting that half second of hesitation. They are scheming specifically to create confusion in the pocket and force bad decisions. And what we saw from Shedeur at these OTAs is that hesitation shrinking visibly, noticeably, in real time. Todd Monken went on record and said Shedeur is developing fast. I need you to stop and actually think about what that means coming from that man. Monken is not a coach who throws out compliments to manage feelings or protect egos. He is a precision, offensive mind who holds his quarterbacks to an extremely high standard. When Todd Monken says, your quarterback is developing fast, that is not filler. That is a signal. That is a coach telling the world he sees something real. And the play that told me everything, the one that deserves way more attention than it got, was not the touchdown throw. It was not even the prettiest rep of the day. It was a pocket breakdown play in 11 on 11. Pressure comes. A lesser quarterback panics, throws off his back foot, or takes off running the second things get messy. Shedeur did neither. He stepped up, kept his eyes downfield, and then this is the part that got me. He faked like he was about to take off. The linebacker bit. His weight shifted forward to stop the run. And the exact moment that happened, Shedeur already had his eyes on the tight end leaking into the flat. Ball out. Catch made. Chains moved. That is not a play you draw up on a whiteboard. That is football instinct. That is a 22-year-old quarterback processing a live defense and manipulating a linebacker with nothing but his feet and his eyes. You cannot manufacture that in a quarterback. Either it is in there or it is not. In Shedeur Sanders, it is absolutely in there. Now, let's be fair, because I am not here to sell you a perfect narrative. There was an interception. It made headlines. And yes, we need to address it honestly. Shedeur goes through the progression, identifies the zone, moves the underneath defender with his eyes, comes back to throw, and the ball gets jumped. Here is the part most people skipped right over, though. Jerry Jeudy stopped his route. He came back to the ball instead of attacking it. He let his body language telegraph exactly where that throw was going before it ever left Shedeur's hand. At this level, receivers have to go get the football. You cannot stop and wait for it to find you. You attack the catch point, you use your body, you make it difficult for that defensive back to undercut you. Jeudy did not do that. Could the ball have come out a fraction faster? Sure. Could it have been placed on the outside shoulder to take away the undercut? Absolutely. And that is a legitimate critique. But putting that interception entirely on Shedeur while ignoring the receiver's role in it is just lazy analysis. I am not doing that here. Now, let's talk about Deshaun Watson, because I am going to be straight with you the way I always am. Watson showed up at OTAs, and he did not look like a man on his way out. He had genuine moments. The play of the day, I'll give it to him, belonged to Watson. He read a two-safety look, tracked the field side safety's rotation, understood what that rotation meant for the go route outside, and he put the ball exactly where it needed to be down the sideline to Denzel Mims. Ball placement was clean. The decision was fast. That is a legitimate NFL throw from a legitimate NFL quarterback. And Denzel Boston. Let me give that man his credit, because a stutter and go against Tyson Campbell, who is a serious corner, is not a layup. Boston is making a real case to be a weapon in this offense. But here is the reality about Deshaun Watson, and this is where I need you to really hear me. Nothing we saw at OTAs is new information about what Watson can do. We already knew he had the arm. We already knew he had the football IQ. The question that has haunted this franchise for 2 years straight is not whether Watson has the skill set, it is whether his body can hold up through an entire season. That question does not get answered in shorts and shells in May. It gets answered in training camp when pads go on and defenders are actually getting after him. It gets answered in the preseason when he takes real hits in a real game environment. Until we see that everything else is incomplete data, my prediction, and I am giving it to you straight, Watson goes into training camp as the starter. He gets the first team reps. He gets the benefit of the doubt from Andrew Berry in the front office because that contract demands it. That is just NFL economics. Money talks, and a fully guaranteed deal screams louder than anything else in that building. But the leash is dramatically shorter than it would have been a year ago, because now there is a real alternative sitting in that quarterback room. Now, there is a young quarterback earning trust rep by rep, and the coaching staff knows it. That changes everything about how this competition plays out. On Dillon Gabriel, I am going to keep it brief, but I am going to keep it honest. 1 for 4 at OTAs. 1 completion, 1 interception, and 1 ball thrown directly into the ground with nobody in the area. Gabriel is not winning the QB3 battle right now. He is not even close. And what is quietly interesting is that Talon Green, who barely got reps in 7-on-7, might actually be the more compelling developmental prospect at this stage. Green is big. He can move. He has a live arm. He just is not getting the reps because there is too much traffic ahead of him on the depth chart. But as training camp shakes out, I fully expect Gabriel to find himself on the outside looking in. My bet is he gets moved 5th or 6th round pick, maybe to a team that needs a developmental arm. Not a dramatic ending, but a realistic one. Here is what I want you to zoom out and actually understand about this entire situation. A few months ago, every conversation about this franchise was dominated by the weight of that Watson contract, the uncertainty about the future, the feeling that Cleveland had painted themselves into a corner with no way out. That was the energy going into this offseason. And now, right now, the Cleveland Browns have a genuine quarterback competition. They have a young signal caller developing faster than anyone projected. They have a coaching staff that is publicly acknowledging the development rather than quietly pretending it is not happening. That is a completely different situation than what this fan base was staring down in January. Shedeur Sanders slid in the draft. They said it would break his mentality. They said it would follow him into the building, into the film room, onto the practice field, and instead he walked into OTAs and moved a linebacker with his feet, manipulated a defensive back with his eyes, and processed an NFL defense faster than he has at any point in his professional career. The competition is real. The story is just getting started. If this video gave you something, if you are locked in on this quarterback situation the way I am, smash that like button, leave a comment below, and make sure you are subscribed to Browns Today updates so you do not miss a single rep, rumor, or roster move when training camp kicks off. Now, tell me, does Shedeur Sanders take that starting job before week 1, or does Watson walk out of camp as the guy? Drop it in the comments. I want to read every take. Let's go.